This is Grammar and Composition 804C. And in this section, we're going to review our rules for semicolons and colons. So let's look at the semicolon. A semicolon, rule number 1 says that you use a semicolon between independent clauses if you do not use a comma and a coordinating conjunction. So we reviewed in our common rules that we would use a comma and a coordinating conjunction. If you do not use a coordinating conjunction, you can combine those two clauses, independent clauses, with a semicolon. So you could say, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Those are two independent thoughts that are combined into one sentence, but you need to show the separation of those independent thoughts by using the semicolon. Rule number 2 says that we use a semicolon between independent clauses joined by transitional words such as accordingly, consequently, etc. So for instance, the Bible teaches that God is a spirit, semicolon, thus we cannot see him. Rule 3 says that we may, you can use a semicolon, may be used between independent clauses, even with a coordinating conjunction to make it obvious where the first clause ends. So if you have a very heavy sentence with two independent clauses, and you need to make sure that you know where the first independent clause ends, you can use the semicolon and a coordinating conjunction. Number 4 says that you can use a semicolon between items in a series if the items contain commas. So for instance, within the past 3 years, the Smiths have lived in San Diego, California, and you're going to use your semicolon because we've used the comma within the items. So San Diego, California, semicolon, Great Lakes, comma, Illinois, semicolon, and Jacksonville, Florida. And that's so you don't have so many commas. So we're just separating those items that already have the commas with a semicolon. Moving on to the colon. So the colon, the first rule is that you use a colon before listed items, especially when followed by the words as follows or the following. So look at this sentence. Some good vacation spots are, semicolon, Yosemite National Park, the Great Smoky Mountains, and the Florida Keys. This sentence is actually incorrect. We want to, if we're going to say some good vacation spots are, we're just going to use a comma and then we're going to list what they are. But if we said some good vacation spots are as follows, then we're going to use our semicolon, okay? So we're going to say, if it says follows or following, then we can put, we can put our colon, and then we can go into listing our items. Rule 2, use a colon to introduce a statement or quotation that is formally announced. So I quote from last night's speech, and we're going to put our colon, and then we're going to go on with what that speech was. Rule 3, we're going to use a colon between the chapter and the verse of a Bible reference. So Romans 8:28, and we're going to put our colon between the chapter and the verse. We're going to use a colon between the hour and minute of a time reference. So 8 o'clock a.m. So we're referring to the hour, then the colon, and then the minutes. And last, we're going to use a colon after the salutation of a business letter. So we had talked about using the comma when we use a friendly letter. For an acquaintance, a friend, a family member, we use a comma. But when we're writing a letter for a business, we're going to write, Dear Mr. White, and then we're going to put a colon after that. So these are the rules for the semicolon and the colon.